The Trump White House is panicking as the midterm election results get worse and the Russia investigation looms. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. It's not unusual to see turnover in presidential administrations after a midterm election, but this White House has already seen an unprecedented level of turnover even before the elections. And apparently, there's a lot more coming.
President Trump reportedly ready to fire Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen.
NBC News is learning the White House Chief of Staff John Kelly might be leaving the West Wing soon.
Sarah Sanders, for example, has been someone who has been there actually for quite some time and might be headed out.
Others rumored to be leaving include Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke.
Damn, is there anyone left? Trump is slowly turning the White House into the Overlook Hotel. Pretty soon it'll just be Trump in a ratty bathrobe writing all over the walls. You can tell the midterm results were way worse for Republicans than they initially let on from the way they're behaving. And the more results we get from last week's midterm elections, the clearer it is that this was, in fact, a massive blue wave. Even though in the immediate aftermath of the election, Trump tried to make it sound like all the candidates he supported won.
We saw the candidates that I supported achieve tremendous success last night.
Last night was not an absolute victory for you.
I'll be honest. I thought it was a very close to complete victory. I think it was a great victory. I'll be honest. I think it was a great victory.
I love that thing Trump does where he, in real time, talks himself into bragging about something he knows is a failure. It's like he's psyching himself up to ask a girl to a school dance. I'm an okay-looking guy. I mean, honestly, I'm handsome. If I'm being honest, I'm the most handsome man who ever lived. Okay, I'm ready. Hello, cheerleader. In reality, Trump intervened in a series of races where his candidates lost. He campaigned repeatedly in Montana against Democratic Senator Jon Tester, who won re-election, and he flew to Nevada to campaign for defeated Senator Dean Heller, where his main contribution was coming up with a super dumb nickname for Jackie Rosen, Heller's Democratic opponent.
I have to tell you, his opponent wants to raise taxes. She wants to raise taxes. Think of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Should I mention her name or should I not? Huh? I have a great nickname for her, actually, but I'm not going to. No, we shouldn't do it. All right, I won't do it. Wacky Jackie.
Ugh. What a long wait for a huge disappointment. That's like waiting for a kid to show you a dive. Okay. Okay, we're all watching. Yep. Yeah, we can see you, bud. All right, bud, let's see it. Any second, bud. Come on now. Oh, all right. Yeah. Great time, bud. Although I do think if she really wanted to troll Trump, she should totally use that as her official title. That would make calling her Senate office a lot more fun.
Hello, you have reached the office of Senator Wacky Jackie. For constituent services, press 1. For legislation, press 2. For wacky behavior, including goofs, gags, spoofs, pranks, whimsy, wisecracks, japes, jests, horseplay, and general tomfoolery, press 3. And to hear the sound of a fart, press 4.
And then, of course, Trump also intervened in Arizona, where he antagonized Republican Senator Jeff Flake and tried to force him out of the race by encouraging a primary challenger. In fact, Trump even bragged that he was the reason Flake chose to retire.
We also had a staggering number of House retirements, so it's a little tough.
You said that many of the retirements that happened in the House made it very difficult.
Many retirements, yeah.
That made it very difficult for you in this election cycle, and that it was because they were chairmanships that were vacated. But Jeff Flake wasn't a chairman of a committee, and Paul Ryan also retired the cycle. So why do you think that is? Whose fault is it that there were so many retirements?
In Jeff Flake's case, it's me. pure and simple. I retired him.
Oh my God, he sounds like he's auditioning for the role of a two-bit thug on Ray Donovan. What happened to Three Thumbs Joey? Did he pay up? Let's just say he didn't have the cash, so I retired him. But hey, say what you will about Trump. When he intervenes in a race, he gets the results he wants. So who's the new Trump-friendly Republican who replaced Flake in the Senate?
An historic victory out of Arizona. Democrat Kyrsten Sinema prevailed over Republican Martha McSally, making her the first Democratic senator elected by the state in 3 decades.
So Trump bragged about getting a Republican to retire, and then that Republican was replaced by a Democrat who is also the first openly bisexual senator. Trump's like a guy... This is a case where Trump's like a guy who doesn't get along with his buddy's girlfriend, so he convinces him to dump her. And then his buddy brings his new girlfriend over for dinner, and when Trump opens the door, it's Hillary Clinton. Ha ha! Hello, Donald! It's me, Hillary, and I'm dating your new best friend. Ha ha ha! So as the results get worse for Republicans, they're getting more desperate, and they seem to be focusing their desperation on Florida, where Governor and Senate candidate Rick Scott has been spreading baseless conspiracy theories about voter fraud amid a recount there in an incredibly tight race. And now he and his lawyers won't even say that they'll accept the results as legitimate if he loses.
Every Floridian should be concerned there may be rampant fraud happening in Palm Beach and Broward counties.
Senator Nelson is clearly trying to commit fraud to try to win this election. That's all this is.
If, after the recount, somehow, and I know it's unlikely, but somehow Bill Nelson were to prevail, would Rick Scott, who is the governor right now, certify that election? And you wouldn't say yes. So you've had a night to think about it. So is the answer this morning yes?
Well, John, I'm also not going to answer whether Rick Scott's going to win the Heisman Trophy, because he's not.
And I'm also not going to answer whether Rick Scott escaped from the bodies exhibit, because he didn't. So, Republicans have been spreading lies about non-existent voter fraud without any evidence, and you'll never guess who they're blaming for that non-existent voter fraud.
Rudy Giuliani is pointing the blame at Hillary Clinton, writing, Hillary's lawyers trying to steal Florida election. They are still counting or creating ballots just in Democratic Broward and Palm Beach.
People should be suspicious when Hillary Clinton's lawyer, who paid for Russian information, is involved in any election recount.
And now they're finding votes, and you have this guy, Elias, who represented Hillary Clinton and a lot of very shady things.
Here's really something frightening. The lawyer who's representing Senator Nelson, the Democrat incumbent, his name is Mark Elias. Does that sound familiar? That's the same lawyer Hillary Clinton hired to get that Russian dossier created 2 years ago.
Oh my God, they talk about Hillary Clinton like the Crypt Keeper teeing up the next horror movie. Hello, boils and ghouls. Here's a terrifying tale that will send a shiver down your spine. The lawyer representing Democrats in the Florida recount works for a firm that was previously hired by Hillary Clinton. So why? Why is Trump freaking out? Well, he's reportedly getting nervous because now that the elections are over, the special counsel in the Russia investigation, Robert Mueller, can go back to indicting people and writing his final report. We've heard very little from Mueller over the past few months, leading to speculation over what his next move might be.
He knows that the midterm elections are over, and he knows that Mueller, that little quiet time that Mueller gave him, is now going to get loud.
A lot of speculation on Robert Mueller, who has been quiet lately.
Mueller has been very quiet. This has been a quiet time for Robert Mueller.
Because Robert Mueller has been quiet, we should assume that he's been more busy than ever.
If you're Donald Trump, there's got to be nothing more terrifying than hearing that Robert Mueller has been quiet. This guy is a Marine. He's probably spent the last 6 months sneaking closer and closer. At this point, he's probably in camouflage that matches the Oval Office drapes. For 2 years, Trump has acted like a guy who's afraid the walls are closing in, and that was when Republicans were in charge of everything. Now Democrats control the House, and Mueller can make news again. Although if Mueller ever issues a public statement about Trump, he'll probably just say,
I retired him.
This has been A Closer Look.